The following program contains conversations that may be sensitive to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
So what's your thing about mustaches?
Okay. So black men without a mustache are pedophiles. White men with mustaches are pedophiles as well. White men without mustaches can be trusted, and black men with mustaches can also be trusted. But when you walk through the streets, I'm clapping just because I think. But when you walk through the streets and you see a black man without a mustache, you stand clear, and you see a white man with one, stand clear, because they both want to molest you sexually.
Okay. There's like a matrix of mustache, black guy, white guy, child molester.
Yeah.
And it's just like a big tic-tac-toe
board. Oh, shit.
What?
I still don't believe. I love Michael Jackson, but he did not have a mustache. But he also didn't know if he was black or white.
Was he a black guy or a white guy?
He was a black guy initially, and he had a mustache. And then he cut it off, and he transitioned to white.
When he became a white woman,
he knew the rules.
He took off his mustache.
You know what? Michael, you're the greatest. You stuck to the rules. He was like, I'm going to cut this motherfucker off because now I'm a white guy.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm a white woman. And if you're a white woman, you definitely shouldn't have a mustache. I don't know what to say about you.
Well, I mean, you know.
I feel personally offended.
You know what? You were not even in this podcast yet, but my girlfriend is here, and she sometimes gets a little fizzy around the...
Fuzzy.
Fuzzy?
Fizzy?
Fizzy is like a drink of pop.
A pop.
We're ready to pile on.
Pop. Well, what are you?
Was I not supposed to say anything
Are
yet?
you? No, you
should.
We
haven't.
Shut up, woman!
We haven't welcomed you yet.
Save me!
Welcome to Wine and Weed.
Wine and Weed, episode 6, but really 3. We're like on our Star Wars shit.
We are very Star Wars. Welcome to Wine and Weed, a.k.a. Cabernet and Kush, a.k.a.
Yeah.
What do we got today? Rosé and Romulan.
What the fuck? No, you mean Perp?
That's my little.
Perp and Pinot.
Perp and Pinot.
Why I say Pinot?
It would be Pinot and Perp.
Jalapeno. Give me some motherfucking. Can I get that jalapeno noir?
AKA.
Come on, dude.
Pinot Grigio and P9. By the way, I found out it's P9, not P90.
Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
A few weeks ago, we were talking about one of my favorite strands, and I called it P90, and then John tried to look it up and could only find information about P90X, the exercise routine.
Yeah.
Turns out because it's P9, guys, it's not P90.
You know how much I just started smoking weed? I just realized, as you said, strands. I thought it was strains. I don't know why.
Strands.
It's strands.
I think I used to think it was
Am I just
strains.
Slow?
We'll figure it all out. It's a fizzy strain. It's a
fizzy strain.
Strain.
Is it strain?
Strain?
It is strain. It's not strand. It's strain.
Strain.
It's a strain.
Strands. Strain.
It's a
yeah,
strain.
that's why when you were like, it's called strain, I was like, am I calling it a
Yeah, you were wrong. I'm right.
strain of weed?
I'm right. And that just continues our narrative of this show called I'm Right, Chris is Wrong. And that's the name of the show. That's
Welcome.
The name of the
Welcome to Wine and Weed week, and it's a whole new week. It is it's March 24th, which means you'll be listening to this
on like March
27th. Some things might have changed by the time you hear this podcast.
Why'd I just say it's March 24th? You'll be listening on March 17th.
We're not even high yet. We haven't smoked yet.
Anything.
We're gonna be having guests on this podcast now, and in order to test that out, we have a guest who lives in this
First of all,
house.
you're being disrespectful. My girlfriend isn't a test. She isn't a test episode. She is everything to me. And she does live here, so that made it a little easier to get her to commit. It wasn't the easiest, but it was easier to get her to commit to come downstairs. And I was like, babe, just please come do the show. She's a very, very inspiring woman. She is everything in my world, but she also owns a clothing brand. She's an entrepreneur. I don't like to refer to her as a girl boss. I just refer to her as a boss because I think we should get rid of that whole girl boss thing. She's just a fucking boss
Oh.
across the board. She owns a clothing brand called House of CB. She's the founder. She's the CEO. She is everything. She is no cap on none of this shit either. She is just a fucking boss. Miss Conna Walker.
Yeah.
Miss Conna Walker.
Let's put in some
Hi.
applause sound effects.
Yeah, we're gonna throw all that in there.
All right, thanks, babe. That was quite the introduction.
Well, that's what you deserve, baby. You deserve that plus more.
All right.
I try to make sure I always give you all of that.
So we're gonna still just go over the week and smoke some weed and drink some wine.
Yeah.
Conna, you can participate how you would like to. You
Conna
know?
doesn't smoke weed, but she will drink wine with
And
us.
I apparently don't speak.
Okay, you know what?
Uh-oh.
This is getting put in my place. Ooh.
Yeah, no, I don't smoke, but I do drink.
All right,
Okay,
well.
thanks for repeating what I said. Yeah, we really needed you for that. But yeah, so and that's what we'll have sometimes. We'll have guests on here sometimes who don't smoke. They may drink and they'll do that, and they may not drink and they may smoke.
Sometimes
Or
we
they-
might have guests who are sober, and then we'll do a little wine and weed,
and then we will,
cheat day.
and then we'll
make
kick
eat
them
a
off the
burger.
show. Eat a burger?
I feel like with sober people, you could be like wine, weed, and cheat day.
But
You know,
like,
their
why are you
health.
assuming they're in shape because
That's a
they
good
don't
point.
they're sober?
That's a good point. Wine and weed, and just make them eat spicy things.
But if they like
the
spicy things.
hottest hot sauce.
Yeah,
you can
just they're
find.
just fucked
That's
up in the corner. We're
I
having
love
fun.
hot sauce. I would love to do that on this show. You know me, I love spicy everything.
I know you.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know me.
you.
Oh, yeah,
I
you know
know
me.
you.
You know me.
What are we drinking and smoking on today's show?
We're drinking one of my favorite drinks. It is the Thought Choices. It's the number one Thought choice in America. It is a rosé. It is Whispering Angel. All my thoughts out there, put your hands up. Whoop, whoop.
This is a big bottle of
It's a
wine.
big- We
He
have a
really
guest.
does love this drink, though.
Yeah.
I think that's why
Whispering
he got the
Angel?
big bottle.
The big bottles because we have guests now. I want to make sure we all had something to drink, and we weren't like, oh, we're gonna finish one bottle, and then we're all like, yeah, now we're just sober and we're not saying crazy things on this show. Oh yeah,
Hey. Rosé. This is our first rosé on the show.
Rosé. It's the boss,
Okay.
Ricky Rouse. Rosé. Are you scared to pour that?
And as always, I'm Chris Reinacher. This is Sterling Steelo Brim. We got John Ross over here, and our guest who we introduced before we introduced the host of the show, of course, Conna Walker.
How dare you refer to me as just Sterling Steelo?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Brim?
AKA.
AKA
That dude.
Scooby Doo's best friend, AKA that dude, AKA Connor's Mandingo lover, AKA.
Oh shit.
I'm throwing my AKs out. AKAs
Okay,
out
that
there,
one
baby.
was aggressive.
Is it false? All right.
So I'm Chris Reinacher, AKA the Connoisseur, AKA fuck. I keep getting them, and then I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting to look at them.
Sticking, dude.
Someone sent me a new one. Someone said a Slouch King. No, it wasn't Slouch King. It was like Slump King. I didn't even know what it
Oh,
meant.
shit.
Are they talking shit about me?
No, they're either saying you get slumped from smoking too much weed, you get slumped, or they're saying you slump on the couch too much.
You mean like
That would
slouch?
be slouch.
That's slouch or slump. You can slump somebody over when you shoot them. You slump over like that. You know what a slump is? Come on, boy.
I actually don't know what slump is, but
Oh,
I like
slump
the
is
I
like-
like the word slump.
I feel
Yeah.
like a slump is like when you're in a slump, you're like,
Thank
Wait,
you.
wait, what
What
is
the
that?
fuck kind of definition
You
was
didn't-
that?
Like
For
when
those
you're
of
in,
you
like,
not
a
watching, you
down
didn't do
mood.
anything. You went, it's like when you're, and then you did it like, I thought you
I
like
didn't expect. I told you I wasn't very good at explaining things, and you still insisted I came on this fucking show.
I feel like a camera is like when you like camera. That's what she just said.
No, a
Connor.
slump is like when you're in like
A bit of a slump. Like
oh,
when you,
yeah, like
Oh,
a
yeah,
sad
I get
mood.
it. Yes,
if you're in
yes,
a shooting
yes.
slump, that means you
No,
can't
not
hit
a
it.
shooting slump. When you're in like a bad place.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you're a
the
little
shooting
depressed.
mentally.
You can be in a shooting slump. You can be in a lot of different
Yeah,
slumps.
you're in a slump. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So why the fuck am I a slump king? That's kind of,
But
that is
slump,
fucked up.
But slump is also.
It's like Chris can't get out of a slump.
But slump is also to be slumped over. Like you can shoot somebody in a car and you slump them. They slump.
I can shoot somebody in a car?
Well, you shouldn't. But somebody can be slumped in the car. You like, they slumped on me.
Okay, I'll start using it like that. That makes
Slump King.
What do we got? What kind of marijuana we have today?
We are smoking on a sativa. As usual, people, I hate indica. I do not want to go to sleep. And we're smoking on Super Jack. Chris, don't you have a story about this?
Super Jack. Well, I know the origin of Super Jack. It's from a strain called Jack Herrera, which I have always thought. Do you know where Jack Herrera comes from? Because I just found out this week.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not.
Well, you can look it up.
Okay.
You can look it up.
No.
Because
We're trusting you, Chris. John, do not look it up. We are trusting
so
Chris.
there's a famous grower named Jack Herrera. So that's a name. I always thought this was originally called
That was
Jack
the
Hare.
most boring fucking story ever. I thought
He's got a weed named after him? That's like they're being like, oh,
That's
Cabernet
like-
is named after Mr.
That's
Cabernet.
like the Hurricanes.
Actually, there's a list of.
No, Sterling, those are comments. Okay, we got it.
But then they changed, after a while they started calling Jack Herrera, they started calling it Super Jack. And now we know it as Super Jack.
Super
Interesting.
Jack.
I didn't know that
That's
they were the
all-
same strain.
The-
I do know
it's
that's
a-
one
I
of the
think
pure
it's a-
sativas.
John, it is
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you not drinking wine?
I'll
you
drink
drinking
some.
wine?
I'll drink some.
Yeah.
I'll be right
John,
back.
a cup?
Let me get. I'll go get.
John,
a
you
cup.
live here now. Get yourself a fucking
All
cup.
right.
So we're gonna, as always, go over the week here. You looking for this grinder?
You're like magic.
I was like, I know I brought my grinder. I'm going crazy.
We've had the past few weeks. We've had a lot to talk about. Of course, the Michael Jackson thing. Of course, the New Zealand thing.
Why are you
last
bringing
week.
up Michael Jackson again?
Well,
bro?
I'm saying that there were big stories every week we've had a podcast so far, and this week, not as many.
Yeah. Like I woke up weirdly, like, fucking fucked up in the head, like sad because the world was doing better. I was like, what's going on? Podcast's gonna suck. A lot of crazy things are not happening to people. And it was like, no, it's great. We shouldn't have shit to talk about, but we do.
There's politics. There's obviously like a big story about Trump, but we try not to talk about Trump too much on this podcast.
Because Trump talks about himself enough that we don't need to.
Obviously, one day it will become inevitable that we're like, well, let's talk about Trump today. But I don't
can't
think
wait for that
today's
day.
that day. I don't think we know enough about the Mueller report yet. Because
No.
only some of it has
If
come
it ain't
out
about
as
the
of now, as we're recording it. Maybe you're on Wednesday going, we know so much now.
If we ain't
well,
talking
it's
about
Sunday,
the Frank
okay?
Mueller, then we ain't talking about nothing.
If we didn't talk about what?
It's a watch, man. Fuck. Shit.
Oh, all right.
Goddamn. Get your rap game up.
I did wonder a couple weeks ago because we were so swamped in other news. I was wondering, and maybe this is a good way, just to get Conna involved in the conversation, how the chip packs that were going viral a few years ago. We got Lay's, barbecue Lay's, Cheetos, and 2 flavors of Doritos.
Yeah.
Wait, I think
And
you missed one.
Fritos.
Yeah.
First of all, you're saying 2 flavors of Doritos.
Doritos, Cooler
As
Ranch.
if, say
Doritos
which ones,
nacho
because
cheese.
motherfuckers have earned their spot on the roster that you shouldn't refer to them as 2 flavors of Doritos. Cool Ranch came through and earned his spot fair and square.
I think
All
Cool
right.
Ranch is a boring chip.
I think you a boring motherfucker. All right, if you want to beef over this, we can beef over this.
Where do you lie, Conna?
So I've never tried Fritos.
You've never tried Fritos?
No.
What?
What are you, a
I'm
fucking
English. We
murderer?
don't have that in England. I've only been here a couple years.
What do you guys
They
have
haven't-
again?
They don't look very appealing.
You got like that shitty. What's that?
Walkers is
Yeah,
our version
Walkers.
of Lay's. It's the same. It's the
that's
same
your
company.
last name. Does your dad own that company?
No, I wish.
I don't know.
I
but
wouldn't
I
be with
wish
you.
too. No, I don't blame you.
I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be with you.
Have you ever had salt?
Have I
Period.
ever
Salt?
had salt? I
That's
don't live in a
Fritos.
cave.
That's what Fritos tastes
Oh,
like.
Fritos taste like a salt that makes your breath stink the whole day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Fritos
you
sucks.
gotta try it.
got it.
Fritos
you
is
haven't
an
sold it
obvious
to me.
6th place to me either way. So
Yeah, I mean that's
It
gonna be
is.
in my 6th
I'm
place
not
because I
going for it.
haven't
It
tried
is.
them, and I've never wanted to try them. So
I like that you're going
automatically
6 to 1. There's a
'Cause
lot of
they're-
anticipation.
but you know
Shit, I didn't think about that.
But you know what it is? Their branding is also boring.
They
When
look.
you look at their bag, it's boring as shit.
They look cheap.
Yeah, they look cheap as shit.
They look cheap.
They look
They
cheap.
look like
Now-
budget chips.
As opposed to Cool
Crisps.
Ranch Doritos, which look
There's a
fucking
lightning
They
bolt.
went in on their graphics.
You're fucking insane, bro.
Yeah.
That one chip. First
And they
of all,
advertise on TV.
But that one chip,
That's true.
the only-
Fritos doesn't have ads.
No, at all. Fritos is like, fuck it. Either you like us or you don't. Whatever.
We have the budget chip.
Fritos need some self-confidence.
No, Fritos is like, we're tired of explaining to you guys what we do. They're just like, we're at a point where we don't want to talk to you about it anymore. Either eat us or you don't.
They
I
always
get
put Fritos in those like multiple little bags, and that's the shit that's always left. And
That's
like,
true.
Every
That's
time.
true.
Every time.
That's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah, we're talking about those party packs.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I feel like then you throw Lay's in 5th place, but I feel that's disrespectful.
First of all, you asked Conna what
Sorry.
her
What do
place
you
was.
think? What do you
Oh,
go?
well, I can't remember what all the ones were, but barbecue crisps always go first.
Wow.
They're first place?
First place.
Lay's barbecue is number one.
Barbecue
They're so excited.
anything.
I have
They're
not
so-
heard anybody say
They're
that.
so
yet.
happy to hear you say that.
Barbecue anything.
There is a motherfucker at work right now. Like, I told you. Yes.
And
We
feel
got
free to
Conna,
send us
guys.
a box to the house.
We got one.
No, I love barbecue crisps, chips, whatever.
Yeah.
American people.
Yeah, crisp. What the fuck?
Crisps.
What?
I
Christmas
have a bit of a
sounds
lisp. It's quite
nicer.
hard. Crisps.
It's more
What are you
appetizing.
doing?
You guys think that can be an
Calm
AKA?
down.
Can I be Chris Reinacher?
She's like, Christmas. Christmas.
Merry
She's like saying
Christmas.
Christmas. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so
Liz.
barbecue crisps are
Okay.
number one.
Yeah, so then
Crisp
what were the
is
others?
a tough word to say.
We're-
Crisp.
look,
Sour cream
and
and
It
onion.
is.
It's a mouthful.
And it's crazy. Like, we're watching the NCAA basketball tournament right now, and I feel like barbecue chips being number one is like the biggest upset in the whole tournament. It's like
It's crazy.
They're the 16
But
seed.
but I like-
and
I
they
like
just
them
beat
all.
Duke.
I mean, we did speak about this before, and I did say that my favorite flavor is prawn cocktail, but it's not in your party bags, and you don't have it here.
No, we don't have
Prune
shrimp.
cocktail.
Prawn cocktail is
Prawn.
A1
I was like
flavor.
prune flavor.
Imagine having prune fucking chips.
It's a prune.
That's what he thought you said.
Oh no,
People-
shrimp for the Americans.
Oh,
Shrimp
prawn.
cocktail.
Prawn.
Prawn.
shrimp
Yeah.
flavored
Yeah.
chip.
I
Yeah.
feel like perhaps I wasn't the best person
That's
to have on your
classy.
podcast.
No, hey,
Wow.
you're representing an international
Yeah.
market here.
No.
Also, I feel like U.S. is the only country that doesn't rock with fish flavored chips.
True.
Like
Yeah.
Asian
Yeah.
countries love.
Love fish.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry that we're doing it right here in America.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
Sterling's
he's here.
The
national-
nationalists,
here.
yeah, the
Todd is
nationalists.
I'm open to all flavors.
So what were the other flavors?
Sour cream and
Cheetos.
onion.
Cheetos.
No, sour cream and onion is not in the.
That's not in those.
No,
No.
sour
You guys
cream-
aren't the one getting the good ones, man.
So
No,
I've
they're-
got 1
they're
and
on there.
6. I've got 1 and 6. Like no.
Okay.
It's Cheetos, the regular Cheetos.
Okay.
Not flaming hot. Cheetos. There's barbecue Lays.
I did that one.
There's Lays, regular Lays, original.
Oh, ooh.
There's Fritos. There's Doritos.
Doritos
Oh, both
nacho
types?
cheese.
Nacho
Okay.
cheese, and there's Doritos Cool.
So I would go barbecue, Doritos nacho cheese, Doritos ranch,
second and third?
Cheetos,
Okay, fourth.
and then
Lay's.
original Lays.
How
Then
can you
Frito.
sleep on Cheetos?
Okay.
Cheetos are the most exciting ones. Maybe as an
To
adult,
you.
as a kid, did you like Cheetos the most?
No.
At least, can you at
No.
least give me that?
Okay,
No.
no.
Am I the only
I-
person
I
who's
think
ride or
it-
die
we had
Cheetos?
these
Again-
ones called bacon rashers, and they were like
That sounds
amazing.
horrible. Bacon rash.
I go to London next week. I'm going to
I
bring
like
these back.
eating
Please
a
do.
crispy bacon rash.
But I also think it's
It's
a
so good.
I think it's a cultural thing. I think that you're like Cheetos, and I'm like, I never was a Cheeto guy. I was a flaming hot guy from day one.
I mean, Flamin' Hot Cheetos are great, but they're not in this pack, unfortunately.
But you like them with popcorn.
I
like it because it's a different,
Yeah.
like, Doritos, there's 2 of them, right? Mm-hmm. Lay's, there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
Fritos is, a mess. And
Yeah.
then Cheetos is this OG French fry style chip.
It is.
You know, it's
It is.
exciting.
I'm not
But
mad
they
at
also stain your fingertips.
Wow, I'm glad we
all
settled
this
that.
whispering angels.
Wait, I
everything.
said mine, but you guys didn't say yours.
Okay. You want me to go first?
quick
I know
rundown.
I know what you're gonna say, and I think it's crazy.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll speak my mind then. My favorite, my number one, is Cool Ranch.
Crazy.
Cool Ranch out the gate.
Cool Ranch
Cool-
dip is good too.
Okay, now you're just diving into some fucking fat sauce.
I
Now
love
have
I
time
love
for it.
ranch. I think Cool Ranch is.
What fucking
Mediocre.
ranch? You mean ranch like regular ranch? The
Yeah, I
dressing?
love the flavor of ranch. I'm an American.
Yeah,
Is
you
it
are
like
American.
the same thing?
No.
No.
Oh,
Cooler
alright.
Ranch
Cool
is
Ranch
a different
is-
flavor.
First of all, Cool Ranch and
It's
Cooler
way
Ranch are
cooler.
different.
Okay.
Cool Ranch was the original.
What makes them cool?
Cooler Ranch
Yeah.
came out to remix it.
Sunglasses.
But
Zestier.
But Cool Ranch is fucking delicious. It's delicious. And then my second place would be probably barbecue Lays. Believe it or not, I
barbecue's
do love a
good.
good classic barbecue
Yeah.
Lays.
Wait, did you just switch that? Because I feel like we
No,
talked
we-
about
no, we
this
went
the
over
other
this
day.
before.
Yeah, we spoke about
We
this
went over
before.
this before.
I
And what are
thought
those
Cheetos was
barbecue
your
ones
number
with the like
two.
twisty
No, Cheetos
shape?
is like number 4 for me.
I can't.
Cheetos
Yo,
is like 4.
Cheeto Gang DM me. Cheeto Gang. I'm saying Cheetos. Then I'm saying Frito. No, I'm not saying Fritos. Then I'm going. Here's the thing. I think nacho cheese Doritos are like good all the time. They're not as exciting as Cheetos, but I'm gonna put them number 2.
So you like cheese? You like cheese
I'm a
chips?
I like cheese. Yeah, it's
Okay.
true. I guess you're finding out a lot about me.
Yeah, we are.
Uh,
Are you not lactose intolerant?
no.
I feel like you are. I feel like you told me you were.
No. I know. I mean, you guys really want to dive into my diet? Then I'm gonna say, I gotta go Lay's. I just gotta give respect to Lay's, for being that OG potato
Oh,
chip.
no, you're doing too much.
Are you a Ruffles or Lay's person?
Ooh.
That's a
You
good
know
one.
what? Okay, so if I eat Lay's, regular Lay's or Ruffles, I have to put blame hot. I have to put hot sauce on them. Ghetto
Yum.
trick of the week.
That sounds good.
But yeah, I have to put hot sauce. So I really don't give a fuck as long as the hot sauce is good. And
Chips, crisps. I just thought I'd, start with a conversation to bring us all together.
yeah, I have another one.
What's
I have
that?
a combo that I want to bring up.
Is it about the week or is it
It's not the
separate
week.
than
It was in
that?
the news, man.
Okay,
It
cool.
was in the fucking news.
Moving on in.
Moving on to the news. MySpace lost over 12 years of music and photos recently. So okay. So the report was that MySpace has lost over 12 years of music and photos recently. And my first question, and I think the obvious question was, who was the first motherfucker that realized it? Who was on MySpace that was like, whoa, God, who took my Avril Lavigne song off my page?
They're like, wait a second, this happened last October, but nobody's been on MySpace
No
to
one's been on
realize it.
MySpace. Like, who gives a shit? And
I actually don't really understand
If-
what that means.
that means that if you had songs and like
I guess it's like nostalgic for some people. They used to
Yeah.
put their music on there and then didn't care enough about it to save it anywhere else.
Yeah.
So they just left it on there and now they're upset that it's gone.
So
Damn,
when I used
I'm gonna be honest. I fall into that category.
when I used to A&R, I used to look for artists on my MySpace all the time. That was the way I found artists. And one of the artists that I ended up finding and connected with on MySpace and became really good friends, still are friends to this day. Actually, it's on an episode of Ridiculousness tonight. Is Miguel. I found him on MySpace and I started.
Really, you found Miguel on MySpace?
Yeah, Miguel had a whole bunch of crazy dope ass. Miguel's whole first album that he released through Jive Records was pretty much on MySpace first for years. For years.
Cool. He's
And,
great.
and no one knew, but Miguel is fucking amazing. He's so talented. But so
Also, a
if you-
really nice person.
yeah. So if you can imagine though, Miguel's music being gone, old songs that he had on there maybe are gone now off his MySpace, and that's crazy. And I have this theory about MySpace though, and I have a theory that if you are on MySpace, you're a fucking cheater. If you're telling somebody to message you on MySpace, you just know it's the one place your girl will not catch you cheating. So you're like, bitch, come and DM me on MySpace.
But that is quite like aggressive because that girl's gonna have to make a MySpace page because
She
realistically,
doesn't have to make one.
I mean,
has
what?
one?
She knows her password from 19.
She can
What-
change
what
it if
year?
she has an
2001.
email.
I don't know. I
If
don't.
she has an
my
email, she
email
can
has
just change it.
changed since I had MySpace.
You
so
had
I would be able
MySpace?
to- Yeah.
Did you?
What was
I
your
was like-
email at the
Everyone
time?
had one.
Who was in your top 8?
Conna
Go.
_skunk was my email.
Skunk?
God,
Yeah.
skunk.
Why? Because you were into black dudes and you're black and white?
No, because I farted once in school and
No. This story is amazing. You farted once and the name skunk stuck
yeah,
with you?
and my best
That
friend
must have
just
been
called
the
me
worst
skunk the whole
part.
time.
I'm
And
so
I actually
sorry.
blamed it on a kid behind me. I was like, oh.
That was
ew.
the worst part to ever
Yeah.
exist. If they labeled you skunk after one fart, they're like, there's no way you're going to.
I just think it's crazy that a
Yeah.
fart became part of your identity. That's pretty exciting.
In my defense,
We're
I
finding
was,
out a lot.
I was young.
How young?
I was like 9.
You were old enough not to fart in class.
Oh, right.
Maybe not even 9. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe 8.
MySpace was crazy.
Kinda
I
skunk.
put a music video up on MySpace and now it's down. I don't know where else it lives.
Was it your music video?
Yeah, dog.
You made music?
Yeah, dog.
All right.
Wait, when you start throwing out dogs, you know he must have been a rapper.
So I'm starting to feel like the person that got rid
It's
of
a
all this
comedy
information
song.
was trying to get rid of their own history and just deleted everyone.
This person was trying to help all of you out. I would have never known you were Skunk. I would have never known Chris was a fucking Republican rapper.
No. Wow, MySpace dropped it
Who
all.
was it?
Huh?
Do you guys remember your last top 8?
No.
Yeah.
You do, John. Please, John,
You
speak
remember
on
it,
it.
John?
Yeah, because it's still there. It was friends from middle school.
Are they still
know?
friends with you?
Most of them, yeah.
Are those, out of those 8 people, you don't have to say who,
Yeah.
how many would still be in your top 8 today if you had a top 8?
Wow.
3.
What? That's
That's
pretty
pretty
good.
good. That's pretty good.
None. Mine would
Connor's
be none.
is definitely 0.
I
Yeah, I've
think
got all of,
mine
like,
would
3
be
friends.
0 to top 8, maybe 1 or 2.
I think my top 8, if I had it, my last top 8 I remember, I think 7.
Wow.
Wow.
You
I
think
have-
they'd continue to be in your top 8?
Well, I have family. I have 3 brothers.
Cheat, that's a
I have
cheat.
2 brothers,
That's
1 sister, and then I have
cheating.
Mike.
That's cheating.
So there's 4 people
It's
right there
straight up
already.
cheating.
That's cheating.
How is that cheating?
Can't count family members. You're stuck with family.
Oh, I'm
Can't
sorry
get
you're
rid
the
of them.
only child and you're lonely at home. Fucking bag up.
Wow.
I was never lonely. Anyway, thanks.
You had imaginary friends?
Well, everyone was
never.
lonely at one point. You get that I was never lonely. That's obviously a lie. I was never lonely.
No, she had imaginary friends.
I didn't
dude.
have any imaginary friends.
What were their names?
I was brought up with my cousins. We're like sisters. What are you talking about?
Okay. Chris, you have a sister, right?
I have a sister.
Is it
I have
just
an
2 of
older
you?
sister. It's just the 2 of us.
Just
the
the
two
2
of
of
us.
us.
So my sister was probably maybe in my top 8, and she'll continue to be in my top 8.
You don't sound happy about
Wow.
No, I'm just saying, like
You're like, that's
I
forced
just
through
think
my
it's
blood.
cheating, No, my
It's
sister,
definitely
my sister's
cheating.
legit.
that. So,
I
okay,
like my
if your sister was not your
Friends
sister, would
only.
she be in your top 8?
I don't know if my sister.
Let's
would keep
get real.
Me, I don't know if my sister would keep me around.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Same.
I keep her around.
Same.
She is cooler than you.
My sister's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My sister's got 2 kids. My sister is
That's so
a
cool.
boss. No, but I mean, my sister lives her life as an adult.
Yeah, like a real adult.
I'm drinking
Too,
wine
man.
in
Not
the
a
middle
fake
of the
adult
day.
like this.
You live your life as a fucking adult too. Don't let anyone lie to you and tell you the truth.
I have a mustache on. I'm drinking wine and smoking weed in the middle of the day and trying to make a living
If
off
that's not the most adult shit I've ever heard in my
it. Fuck
entire
yeah.
life.
Yeah, those are all
mean, I
pretty
guess.
adult things.
We're doing
Yeah.
taxes next month. Like, it's adult, man.
Fuck,
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, that was just a random story of the week.
That's
I just wanted
hilarious.
to dive into MySpace facts.
What do you
But,
think? I would love to watch a documentary on Tom from MySpace.
He is somewhere just
What
counting
happened to
money
him?
and chilling. First of all, he had the same profile picture, and he still has the same one on Instagram.
No.
Swear to God.
I mean, it's quite
Because
iconic.
no one will
I guess.
recognize him.
Yeah, it's fucking.
Which
First
is
of all,
awesome.
he has the fucking profile picture of a bad bitch. He is halfway turned around with his ass looking at you like this. If you're looking on YouTube, this is how Tom looks.
He's smiling.
It is the most fucking weird picture.
But also, it looks very casual. It does not look posed. So it's
It
like,
does.
It's very
Yeah.
candid.
I want to see a sketch that's just that photo shoot as if it's like very, very plain.
Right.
All right, Tom. Go, Chris. You got anything for the week? Man?
I got some stuff. I actually, John, I sent you some things. You want to start with something lighter? A man in Russia tried to board a plane completely naked by saying that it would make him more aerodynamic.
How did he
But
get
he's-
through like the airport at first? Was he
Will you read
clothed?
the article for
Yeah.
us?
The man passed through the Ural Airlines flight's registration before suddenly stripping off his clothes and running stark naked onto the jet bridge, eyewitnesses said. He shouted that he was naked because clothing impairs the aerodynamics of the body. He flies with more agility when undressed.
What if he convinced everyone on the plane to get naked and they got there 2 hours early?
This guy's on to something.
The nude intruder was intercepted by airport staff before he could make it onto his plane. He was later detained by police officers. After the police had detained the offender, he was taken to the airport's medical room and then was hospitalized in a medical facility.
Oh.
It's just like a mental break.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah, that's sad. Sorry.
I mean,
It is.
I didn't read the article.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, it was
We
still.
thought it was a prankster.
It was
and
still
it
worth
wasn't.
bringing up. It was still worth bringing up. The man saying that he would make him more aerodynamic is hilarious. And I'm not sure he's wrong.
I am. Maybe if he was on top of the plane, that makes sense. But he's inside of a plane.
Well, there's less weight, I guess.
Let's wait, Chris.
Let's debate this for a
Yeah.
while.
There's less weight. If he convinces everyone to take off their clothes, how much weight do we lose?
At least 200 pounds, you know? I don't know.
Way more than that.
You're right.
Are shoes included?
Yeah,
Oh,
everything's
yeah, okay.
included.
Yeah,
You lose
lots,
probably
lots.
2,000 pounds.
Yeah, you're right.
We got to test this.
We do not have
How
to test this.
would we test this?
I'm going on a flight tomorrow.
No, yeah, that's very interesting. Very weird. Did you hear that CBD will now be sold at CVS?
What?
800 stores in over 8 states. 800 stores already
That's a
out the
lot.
gate. Yeah.
Is it
CVS,
CVS's own brand?
CVS is its own brand. Are they going to
No,
have
no.
Is it-
It's the weed.
Oh, you're
CVS's
saying
own
That would
brand.
be
that's a good.
hilarious.
If they did private label CBD, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Is it
I think that
Well,
maybe
would it be
oil?
amazing?
Yeah, would it? Would you really buy CVS weed?
I mean, it's
Should
CBD.
they not be like
It's CBD
buying?
though. It's CBD.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
I
all
guess.
fake weed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all fake weed.
Well, my thing is, I think that the next person that should dive into this space, if you're listening to me out there, listen to me closely. 7-Eleven, you should be selling weed. How are you not selling weed?
True.
How are you not fucking selling weed? I come to you to get munchies all day. Why is there not weed right there?
There should also be a little side room at 7-Elevens for people to smoke that weed because they're really going to profit after people are already high. You know?
Oh,
You-
yeah.
you should
Once
go to
they've got the
7-Eleven.
munchies.
But
You
people
should
are
buy
not
the
gonna,
weed.
they're going to
True.
come
You
to
should
them
hang
regardless.
out. You should walk back into 7-Eleven.
But if
buy
you-
too much shit.
But if you come to 7-Eleven in the first place and you buy weed, you know that you're going to need to buy double the munchies because you're going to need to eat more.
I also don't relate. I don't know what this TV show is. I've
'Cause
never
you're
watched
young.
it. No, because I'm English, you idiot.
Okay, what? Oh, so nice to meet
Hey,
you.
how
This is why I
often
deal
does that happen?
with-
I call him an idiot.
No. How often does that happen where you don't know what the uncommon, like why you
Oh.
don't match
Oh,
up with
all the
Americans?
time
A
to each
lot.
other.
Because
One
you're a few
time-
years apart,
When we kind
and
of
you're
started
also
dating.
American and British, and you're also black and white. So there might
Yeah,
be a
there's
lot
a
of
lot.
So many cultural
So many big
Where there's like a
differences
Venn diagram.
all the time.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
What do you always
We can't
get?
even play heads up together because I don't know what
Just
lots
the
of the
American
references
brands and references and shit.
Oh,
It's
that
are. I'll be
makes
like,
sense.
We
Oh,
can't play
I
heads
have no
up.
idea. Next.
Yeah, it sucks.
That makes sense though.
I love heads up, guys.
Yeah,
I
heads
love
up's
it
great.
way too much.
I love You Don't Know Jack.
Oh,
And
I used to love You Don't Know Jack.
I
Yeah.
love. We used to
On the
play You Don't Know
computer?
Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to play
And there's
all
a
the
video
time.
game,
Oh,
dude.
shit. Yeah, me too. The
Yeah.
PC.
Dude.
I have
Again,
volume
Get some
two.
don't know what
Jackbox.
that is.
It's
Okay,
just a trivia.
well, it's also a lot
It's
of
just
like
trivia.
combining two trivia things together. Like
Okay.
you have
Yeah.
to. It's like a brain teaser combined with trivia.
Oh.
And me and my friends love
What
it.
video game
and
was it
one
on?
time, it's on Xbox.
I have it on.
We should fucking play You Don't Know Jack after this. But
I don't know if I have it.
beware, Conna, that one of my friend's girlfriends was British. And
Was?
we
She's not anymore.
He died. He killed her.
one of his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, but his girlfriend at the time was British, and we thought we were having a really good time, and in the middle of it, she just went, "Stupid American game," and stormed out, and we were like, "What?" We were like, "This isn't an American
You're like,
game,"
"This
and then we went,
bitch."
Yeah.
"Is it?"
It
and then we
is.
realized that we
Yeah.
just totally
So many
had our
things.
minds
Yeah,
wide
So many
Lord.
things
open.
all the
So
Like
many
what?
time.
Like what?
So many things all day, every day.
Like what?
He can't even understand
I
half the
can't
things
under-
I say
Yeah.
most of the time.
But we
It's a
have,
silent
but
He
we,
doesn't
but we also
listen.
just have we also just have black and white disconnections. Like we'll have American and British actual barriers. We have a lot of disconnects, but whatever. We're not gonna dive into this. It's I mean, we really do though. We have all day, every day. Like you have to understand. Like in England, they don't even teach people and students about
American
actual
history.
American history. So about slavery, they go over it for like 2 days. They're like, yeah, people may have taken people into captive. That's how
But
America
do you
was
know a
formed.
I mean,
whole
most-
bunch of shit about English history?
Yeah, we learn all
Yeah,
English
everything,
history. We do
everything.
like some European history. And I guess, I mean, I never learned really American history. I don't know if other schools do it, but where I went, they didn't teach us American history. I think if you go into like higher education, you want to do history, then you can pick like American history or whatever. But for the most part, we're taught British history, some European history, pretty much it. Like Victorians, Tudors, that kind of stuff.
That makes
Little bit
sense.
of
though.
Yeah.
World
Yeah.
Wars, you know,
Yeah,
that
we
kind of
let-
thing.
I mean, European history
general
feels almost
Yeah.
like more extensive and
It is. It's more
Important.
extensive. We're a young country.
yeah.
So we don't
Yeah.
really learn about that.
You're like, and then they were created and they took it away from us, and we don't want to talk about that, okay?
So
Let's get back to how great.
So we would watch. I'm sorry. So we would just watch stuff like. Let's just give an example. What was that movie, Detroit? Detroit, and we were in the movie theater, and it'd be all this racism going on in like the 60s and 70s, and she'll be like, "Wait, that was like not that long ago." And then it makes more sense to her of like why this is happening now, because it's like that's like fucking last year compared to our history.
Right.
Like in our history, that is what the fuck.
Well, I feel like there's still racism in the UK, obviously.
No,
and
I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that our country was founded on it, and our country's not that old.
You guys like have like houses. You're like, oh yeah, that house was built in 1700.
Yeah, like super old shit.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
So
cute.
a house that was built in the 20s is like new.
That's brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a baby.
That's
If a
modern.
house is born in the 20s here, it's like, wow.
Oh my God!
Look
What
at
is
that
this?
old
Is
house.
that a Frank Lloyd Wright? That is nice.
But we do have a lot of cultural disconnects that we have to teach each other about.
All the time. All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has become very aware of racism by dating me, and she's like, "Oh shit, it's a real thing." It's not anything against her or any other white person. It's because you don't have to deal with it. It's ignorance from the literal sense of you just not having to deal with it, so you don't pay attention to it. So the moment that you have to, because we're together, so now she has to pay attention. Then she's like, "Oh shit, it's a real fucking thing."
Yeah, it's culture shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's overall when you get close to anybody who's close to any like issue or lives that experience. You know.
But then you've dated somebody that wasn't white. I mean, that's not from a different. That she was American still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but her parents are from Mexico, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Cultural differences in that.
Well, there's also a lot of things that I got close with that you have to deal with as an immigrant in America that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
And there's also just simple things I found out. Like I didn't know that people who are here, undocumented workers, don't pay taxes still. I didn't know that. I thought they were like,
like paid under the table type of thing.
I thought they were paid, and
'Cause
so
we
they
know
don't.
how we pay our mate.
because you don't have a social security
Not
number.
true. Not
so
true.
you're not going to
Also looking for a
reveal
new
it,
maid.
right? So you're not going to reveal it. So I just always thought if you were paid, that like that's almost why we're like, why are immigrants here? They're taking off of government things that they don't pay into. And I found out though that's
they
wrong.
do pay into it, and
You
they
get
don't
a-
reap any benefits from it.
Exactly.
Because they're not
You
registered.
get a universal.
So you just get free
employment
money,
number.
effectively.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you
Insane.
still have to pay taxes on it. And what's crazy to me is also that like
Do they
But
all pay
also-
taxes? They don't all pay taxes.
Not
on
everyone,
it.
obviously,
No,
yeah.
no.
But also,
everyone
how
has a
does that
different
work? Like,
well, some if you're paid cash, you probably don't.
Yeah.
Pay
Yeah,
taxes.
There's
most
working
people-
visas.
Well,
there's
I
a
know.
bunch
I'm not going to dive into this too much, but I know when I've had someone clean my home, they definitely were not documented in the beginning, and I paid them cash,
Yeah.
and that was just the way we did it.
Yeah.
And then recently, she started being like, "You can give me checks," because she got her green card not that long ago. So
Yeah.
now she's like, "Fuck it, yeah, give me checks. I'm out here now.
Yeah.
I'm a citizen."
Well,
Fuck with
I
me.
know that
Fuck with me.
like those jobs instead
And
of
I love it.
required-
I got so happy for her today. She
Yeah.
got her green card. Like I damn near threw her a party. I was like,
That's tough.
"Fuck yeah, let's do it."
You're gonna clean after this party
Yeah.
though.
wow.
Oh shit! This is true. This
Aggressive.
is also true, John.
Very aggressive.
That was very funny. Don't party too hard. You gotta clean it.
I'm not laughing at this for the record.
Oh shit! That's hilarious, John.
But instead of social security numbers, you have universal ID numbers, employment numbers. So I don't know. Things like that. How difficult that process is and what it like feels like to be parts of those families are things that I wasn't close to before. And
Yeah.
completely
And even just
understand and
like
didn't see
basic
before.
cultural differences, not even going into like super deep stuff, just like there's basic things that are like, that's rude, that's impolite, that's whatever. Like for,
you guys
for me
have
and
manners.
Sterling, I feel like like in England, at least being white in England, you don't
It's
call
fun.
anyone's parents Mr. or Mrs. or anything. So you'll be like, oh, hey Jane, how are you? That's like your friend's mum. But in the US,
you
you
try that shit with a black mama.
everyone
Call her some
Mr. and
motherfucking-
Mrs. and it's like it's so strange to
Is
me.
that a white person thing or
That's
is
definitely
it?
a white person
Yeah.
thing. Me
I
and you
mean,
spoke
is it-
about
is
that.
I don't know about like
'Cause
black
I
people
would
in the
call my
UK,
parents by
but
their
white
first
people in
name.
the UK you call them
You
by
call
their
your
first
parents by
name.
their first name?
Not my parents. I
Your
would call
friends'
other
parents.
kids' parents.
Yeah, always. It would be so weird if you called them anything else. I feel like I've never called anyone like, "Hey, Mrs. Jones."
There's
Yeah.
there's sometimes
Hey,
strict parents.
And
but
y'all
other than
wonder
that-
why white people out here doing all these mass shootings. Y'all ain't got no fucking.
That
Oh
it
my
really
God.
doesn't matter though.
Y'all ain't
It's a
got.
direct line.
But realistically,
It is direct. Y'all ain't got no fucking manners,
John,
man.
that
what's your-
doesn't mean
what's-
that you
do
don't
you call
respect
people's
people.
parents?
That's just like a
No,
basic
I do
surface
not.
level of
Wait,
respect.
wait,
it doesn't
wait,
mean
I-
anything.
John's
Let me hear
gonna
what
be
John's
a
gonna
good.
say.
Being Filipino is very cool because when I can call other Filipino like moms and dads, I just
Elders.
call them tito and tita, and that's all I need to say.
Oh, you keep it clean.
That's all I say.
Yeah, you stop the game.
But when I'm like at friends' house who are not Filipinos, I say Mr. and Mrs.
You know
unless
why,
they
John? Because your
specifically ask.
mama raised you
Yeah,
right.
that's just
And
how it
these
is, yeah.
motherfucking white devils need to
Oh! All right. First of all,
I-
calling somebody Mr. and Mrs. is just a superficial way of respecting someone. Doesn't mean you respect them actually.
No.
And you can respect someone and not call
That's
them
fine.
Mr. or Mrs.
She has a.
Yeah.
But
I-
whatever.
But she
Okay.
also has
But
a.
hey,
Yeah,
me.
gay,
No,
gay.
wait,
whatever.
wait.
You disrespect my
I'm
mom
sorry.
and I'll come for you.
I'm sorry, but she also has a problem with authority in general.
I do have a problem with authority.
So
I don't agree
that,
with
if
it.
that's not white
No,
privilege,
no,
if
but
that's
it-
not white privilege, I don't know what is.
It also kind of threw me off and made me like I know that your parents are strict with Mr. and Mrs. and I have not
But
been
you know
in
what you
a
did, Chris?
strict Mr. and Mrs. situation.
No. But
so
Chris,
far.
you also asked me because you're a good person.
Yeah, but we don't. If that's not part
Okay.
of your culture in England, then you don't know. I'm not going to ask you something I don't know about. It's not
Sometimes
something we
there's
do.
strict kids whose like parents
If
go by
I-
Mr. and Mrs. But
Oh, if I had to call my mom Mrs. Ross,
well, does your mom introduce herself as "Hello, I'm Mrs. Ross" to a kid?
no, she says her first name.
Yeah, mine
But
too.
then-
No, to a kid, my
But
mom
then
would
you
never say
still
her first
call
name.
them.
Mine too.
Well, that's if you say your first name, whatever you
To a
introduce.
kid?
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
whatever you
No, yeah,
introduce
to my
yourself.
mom,
as.
we were like 12 years
First
old.
of all, why are you introducing yourself to
Yeah,
kids?
No, but you just say
because they're
you just learn it from being around them, don't
If
you?
I was 12 years old, she's just, I'm John's mom. That's what she would say.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Like I'm
John's
Connor's
mom.
mum, Joe.
Hi, 7-year-old Chris.
Joan, but she would say Joan.
She would say Joe. She wouldn't even say Joanna. She would just say
Yeah,
Joe.
but your mama has a problem with being old too.
No, she doesn't.
Yeah, she does.
Mom, if you're listening, you don't have a
Being
problem with
old's not a
being
problem.
old.
She struggles with
Also,
it.
you're beautiful.
She does
She
not.
struggles with. She
Chris,
struggles
also
with
you're
growing up.
beautiful.
Also, if you want to go out sometime,
No,
I have a crush on Connor's mom. That was
no. It's just more of a thing that, and you know what? If you want to really dive into it, it could deal with our history as well. It could deal with the history of the black person in America that we were told to not talk back to white people a certain way, and that we were taught all of these like very super
Like
well
regimented
mannered
rules.
things because it was the safest way for us to.
But I think
I get that. I
think
understand that.
it's people past like 1980 who are white kids who started calling their kids by their parents.
Yeah, I mean,
I think in
probably
the 60s,
my mum called
people were
her
Mr. and
friends'
Mrs.
parents Mr. and Mrs. Whatever,
Right.
I would assume.
Yeah, I think that about my mom's parents too.
Yeah,
I think
she
it's a
probably
modern
did,
thing.
or like, well, my dad probably definitely. I don't know about my mum, but my dad definitely.
What,
Definitely,
called
there
them
was
Probably called them Mr. and Mrs. I would assume.
Yeah, so then it just start dealing with the youth again having a problem. The youth has a problem with everything. So it's like the youth being
No,
like,
I think
why do we have to call you Mr.
our
and
parents,
Mrs.?
our parents were probably these people in
They
the
were rebels.
90s who were, or the 2000s, I don't know,
Yeah.
but who were like, no, we're like equals. Call us by our first names, right? Like,
Yeah,
it
I'm a
was like
Kuma.
that
I
whole
mean, my parents are
movement.
Kuma.
non-conformists, so I don't know, maybe. But
But you said,
all
but
my-
most of the people
all
you
my
talk to,
yeah, exactly.
you
all
call
from
them by
school,
their
I would
first
all
name.
call them, but they're like, I'd be like, hey, Kathy. Hey.
Oh, I wish a motherfucker would.
Yeah, no.
I'm telling you right now.
She'll pick us up and we're
I am
like,
totally saying hi to
When I
Kathy.
have kids and I go
they
pick
are
up,
not
when I
calling
go,
people.
you crazy as fuck.
Their
Well,
friends are not calling us.
we ain't having kids together then, obviously. When
They're
I,
calling you Mr. Brim?
The kids?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
No.
I'm Mr. Brim. I am Mr.
So
Brim. I
unnecessary.
ain't Sterling. I ain't Steelo. I am Mr. Brim.
All right, well, you
Respect
can teach them
me.
that. I'm Conna. That's
Conna-
cool.
Yeah, and that's
So-
why they're gonna be like, we can smash Conna, y'all. I'm telling y'all. She keep letting us call her by her first name. It's weird.
No, it's not
I think
weird.
she's into kids.
It's not weird, but again, it's a big cultural difference, and I understand Sterling's point about why it's for his culture. It's got more meaning than it would in mine. So it's things that we've had to learn along the way.
And we respect them, and we have to respect one another no matter what. We look at different things, and I'm like, yo.
But we do get heated about them.
We
at first.
definitely get heated. We get heated because we have different views. We came from different places, but whatever. We're still together.
And we
so
always laugh that if we break up, then
we gonna both go back to the other side.
to our respective races.
Oh yeah, I'm going back to black girls. Hey, look. So start some problems in our relationship. Y'all got me back.
Not funny.
That was an interesting question. They got us talking for a fucking hour.
I know. Yeah. I mean,
We can go couple different ways. We can go the 6 Ferguson activists are found dead in the span of 4 years since Mike Brown has died.
this is something I didn't know about until you told me today.
Yeah, and it's just alarming, and it's just like, how is it anything but obvious
Yeah.
homicide on all these cases? These people are clearly being killed for standing for something they believe in and
So-
something that we should all believe in.
That's quite
So
clear.
what are
It's
the
not a coincidence.
facts of this? Like what? There's one guy was found dead in a flaming car during two different people were found dead in 2 flaming cars.
That's
correct?
suspicious by itself.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
sounds weird. That was like 2 years ago. Recently, somebody was found dead on a bus and had an overdose of
3 others died of suicide.
suicide, quote unquote.
2 were
Overdose
found
of,
torched in cars, and then another collapsed on a bus.
Mm.
His death ruled as an overdose.
Oh.
All very suspicious.
overdose
very.
of the it's something specific. It's like a pharmaceutical, so it like is almost
So like an accidental overdose.
exactly like it's
Like not like a
it's like what Michael Jackson died of. It's
okay.
I'm not gonna get the word right. I'm gonna feel stupid. So I don't want to say it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, no, that's
insane.
obviously it's clearly not a
So what do
not a
what do
coincidence or
you?
accident.
But the police is saying. The police. Oh my God.
What do you imagine is happening?
The police is saying that these are all just coincidence. And we should trust them, obviously, guys, because the police, the same police who killed Mike Brown. The police.
I don't really think the police
Oh, how'd you get here, Rod? Who
done
invited
anything
you?
wrong before. No. Keep going.
Who let
It's,
you in,
it's
Rod?
just like, it's insane to me that we have to, someone that is, their job is to protect and serve, and we have to trust that. We want to trust that person. But we have to trust the same person that is saying, oh, 6 people have now been killed. I'm sorry, 6 people have coincidentally just died. Suicides in torch cars. But
You gotta
suicide,
stop watching this.
suicides in torch cars in an overdose, and we have to trust the police, the same people who killed Mike Brown, to say, oh, yeah, no, the police said it's just a coincidence, so, like, it
Do you
makes
think
it,
that they are protecting somebody, or do you think that they are doing it, or do you think they are just like being negligent?
I think that they are doing it.
Well, like, what do they get
How would
out
they
of this?
not be doing it? 6
I think they could
people
also
who
be
were-
protecting somebody who is like not investigating.
No, if anything, they're having that person they're protecting doing it.
You think like a person who is part of the police is going around killing activists in Ferguson?
I think the police are. I don't think one person. I think the police.
Wow, that's.
What do you mean? Wow, this is not new.
I see. I don't know enough information. I've only read one article about it, but it also
Do
sounds
you
to
even
me like
have to know enough to understand this is so fucking?
It
I
also
don't believe
sounds
in
to me
coincidences
like
in general, so I feel like it doesn't seem like a coincidence.
A coincidence would be one.
No, I'm
We're talking
saying
6 people,
Yeah,
I'm
guys.
no,
saying that
that's what I'm
some
saying.
racist might be going around killing people, and the police are not looking into it.
Donye Jones, who was apparently found, he was hanging from a tree, and it was ruled as suicide.
Yeah, a lynching, people.
Oh my
Yeah.
fucking
god!
lynching.
Jones's mother told Inside Edition that she doesn't believe her son killed himself, and said the family had been the victims of intimidation attempts leading up to her son's death. There were seven occasions when cars with tinted windows would
Not
sit in
one.
front of our house. And
7?
we would approach them, and they would drive off. Another time, 6 police officers stood outside staring at her home for no apparent
Police
reason.
officers.
She added that Jones was not suicidal and that the sheet they found him hanging from was tied in military knots, which her son did not know how to tie.
Yep.
She also said he had blood spatter on his shirt and a bruise on his eye.
Oh,
So-
why
When
would he
did
have
this
a bruise
happen?
on his
Let's
eye
see
or
when
blood
this
spot on his shirt
happened.
as well?
Clearly suicide.
Okay,
I think this was
so
2016.
and this is right after Mike Brown protests.
14 was Mike Brown.
Yeah,
right?
so
This
2
is
years.
insane, and more people are now found dead, and the police are literally saying that this is all nothing.
All
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah, it's clearly not the case.
Why are we not talking?
Why are we
about
not
this?
talking? I'm very confused why people are not talking about this. I literally learned about it today when I got here.
No one gives a fuck. No one is talking about this. This is insane.
Yeah.
Like
you think it's just racist motivations going after these
that's
people?
what it was for Mike Brown, and that's what it is
Yeah.
for these individuals. Yeah, it's pretty clear it's fucking homicide, and it's just sad that no one is speaking about these things at all, at all, at all. And it took me actually being on my Twitter feed, and I saw somebody talking about it, and I was like, oh shit, is this real? And I obviously got into a little rabbit hole of clicking through it, and I was like, oh shit. Not only is this real, like this should be a headline. This should be at the top of the news right now. And it's like, to me, it just seems as though people don't understand when they're like, oh, me and John were speaking about this all over the place. But me and John were talking about how black on black violence earlier, and I was like, it's not real. Black on black violence is not real. And all these different things are just controlled by the media, and the media also will save face for their own. And the media is owned by these white corporations, and they will save face for their own as well. They'll be like, oh, we don't care to cover that thing again. It's like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? If it was a white dude killed and then 6 random white dudes got killed by a black officer, or a black dude was at the head of it, he wouldn't even get to 6 people. He would have never got away with the fucking unarmed killing of a white man. It's
Strangely
insane.
enough, there's a different story about a woman with her handcuffs behind her back has apparently shot herself in the head during a police traffic stop
Yeah, that
where
doesn't
they
sound
found
realistic.
drugs.
No, that's definitely real.
Uh,
You said her hands were behind her back and she shot herself in the head?
yeah,
Yeah,
do
I
you
mean,
I'm
have
pulling it up.
that
Double
article?
jointed, might I say.
Yeah. Some Houdini shit.
She's
first of
really
all.
doing tricks. Yeah.
It does say that
There's-
that she
can't
contorted
be-
it.
that
Oh, it's a
can't be
teen, a 19-year-old.
Real.
Yeah,
She's a teenager.
she did have drugs on her, but that's
Maybe
a lot.
she
You know,
didn't, though.
people.
What does that have? Yeah, what does that
She
do?
shot
anything?
herself through the mouth while her hands were cuffed behind her back.
How does that work? She'd have to
Exactly.
shoot herself in the back of the head if that was possible.
Yeah, if that was and where do you
Wait,
get
she
the
did
gun?
what? Her hands?
Where-
Okay, I'm gonna try to
You wanna
demonstrate. I'm
give
gonna try to
a little
demonstrate,
bit
guys.
of-
I'm trying to demonstrate.
Oh, you're gonna.
If you're watching on YouTube,
yes.
She also.
Oh.
Okay.
No, but when they found her, her hands were behind her back.
What the fuck?
Right?
I got it. I got it.
Why would they say they?
She
Otherwise,
didn't do
they'd
it.
say
I got
that
it.
she'd
No,
be
no.
in front.
She's obviously an X-Man. That's the only answer, everyone.
It's like,
Or other than that, the police murdered her.
yeah. She's also shot herself through the mouth.
Through
Yeah.
the mouth
And her
is-
hands were
The
behind
police
her back.
murdered
Not
her.
even like her
So
back.
are we just gonna
or-
like accept that the police are murdering people and like we're not gonna talk about it in the news? I don't understand. It
We've
feels
already,
like
Okay.
we've already
feels like this
accepted
is
it.
two
So
different places.
The police are saying that her boyfriend. They were stopped and they found drugs in their car. Her
Okay.
27-year-old boyfriend became combative and ran away from the scene. Cops then reportedly left Wilson handcuffed with her hands behind her back as they ran to catch him.
Hey, this sounds like a bunch of Benny Hill cops.
Let's both of us go.
Whoa, he
She's
got
not gonna go
away.
nowhere.
Yeah, no, that's not protocol.
Then, while unattended, police say she contorted her body and she was able to grab a weapon out of the Lexus and shot herself through the mouth. An internal
How
investigation
long
was
were
launched.
you chasing this
Yeah.
guy for? She walked over. She unlocks
So
the
nobody
door.
was
she pressed
supervising
unlock.
her.
Why'd
Like
she do all of that?
No, they ran
Exactly.
after the guy. Apparently,
it's not all of them.
the two officers.
Okay. She
ran
literally could have just ran away. She didn't need to do all of that if she was left by herself.
How much investigation has been done into this? Like,
the cops that shot her investigated it, and they were like, "Yeah."
Apparently, a medical examiner confirmed that she died of suicide, and her mom was like, in all of her life, I have never known her to hold the gun, shoot a gun, own a gun. So, yeah.
The mom that has only known her for like what? How old is she?
19.
That's
19
sad.
years in a row.
It is
What
sad.
does she know about her? That mom is fake.
You're
that
right.
mom is
You're
right.
right.
She does know how to use a fucking gun. They killed her.
Yeah.
The police are insane.
I
Police are
mean,
insane.
I don't. It's just kind of weird as hell that this is happening, and we had to dig for these news stories.
We did. We had
Yeah.
to dig for
You didn't
Well, it's
see one
because
of
there
them. I didn't
wasn't
see the
A
other.
busy news week as such to find something to like talk about.
Well, I mean,
Body
the
cam.
Trump
There's
stuff.
body cam footage.
Okay.
But the police said that his body cam was knocked off during the struggle.
Oh,
Hell
of course
yeah, it was.
Oh, how
Hell
weird.
yeah, it was.
Oh, how strange. Both their body
Man,
cams. They have two body cams.
insane.
Was probably monitored by police for the same time.
This is
Insane.
people don't even care. They're not even trying anymore.
They're not trying. He
Oh,
did what
yeah.
today,
Um,
John? I killed a girl on a traffic stop. All right, put it in the pal.
Put it in the pile.
Put it in the fucking pal, John. You
Here's
know
what
how it
happened.
goes.
This guy ran. What does the guy who ran say happened?
Oh yeah. I mean, they didn't really have his statement because maybe they aren't trying not to.
They're intimidating the shit out of him. Tell him you're gonna die if you say anything.
This is weird. It's like a mystery week.
You say Scooby Doo, where are you?
Scooby-Doo couldn't do shit right now.
Scooby Doo would definitely solve this. He'd be like, "You damn cops." Take
What's
off the
real in
fucking
your life,
mask.
Conna? What was real in your life? Did you bring in any stories this week? What
I
did you pay attention to?
don't think I did.
No, you didn't
Did I
have
offer
to. You weren't
some
assigned
stories
to.
this morning? I mean, he sprung this on me this morning. Was like, "Hey, I need you to be in the podcast,"
I did.
and I don't like to talk.
I have something we can all talk about. Okay.
We were dramatically pausing for you.
Well, I didn't know. I was just trying to. Yeah.
Are you on Instagram?
No.
Oh, I thought you were
I'm
on
in notes,
Instagram.
bro. I'm in
Go on then.
notes. A random topic. Raz B of B2K. Okay, so if y'all don't know me, I'm a big EVERYTHEA.
This is B2K song?
B2K song. I got everything I want in my life except a girlfriend.
I guess I don't know B2K
Yeah, you do.
songs. Do you know B2K
I
ones?
know.
Baby,
some.
turn around and let me see that sexy body
Yes.
go
Bum,
bump,
bum,
bump, bump.
Okay.
That is all I want to see.
I knew some B2K.
Yeah, I got
That's
you, bro.
it.
I knew which ones you knew. But B2K, Raz B of B2K, who has openly stated that he was sexually molested and I guess raped as a minor teenager.
How old?
I think
and
they were
what's
between
hap-
the eight.
I didn't even know this story.
They
at all.
signed to Chris Stokes, I would say, between the ages of like 13 to like 17. They were probably with him. But he said Chris Stokes sexually molested him and raped him and that he was his abuser. And I ain't got no reason not
Chris
to believe
Stokes
him.
is their manager.
He was
He's
their
like a Lou
manager. He was
Pearlman.
also signed to them. They also signed to his record label TUG back in the day. So he had a record label. They actually had distribution through them as well. So he was their manager, also the CEO of their label. So very powerful man in their eyes. But I have no reason not to believe Raz B. No reason at all.
How many members are there? At
There are
B2K?
4 members. There's Omarion, there's J Bug, there is Raz B, and there is Lil Fizz.
Wow, you really do know your B2K.
You gotta know B2K, man. But so for I think the 3rd time they did a reunion tour. They had broke up.
And is he the only one? Sorry, I'm just learning about this story. Is he the only one who has admitted that he?
He's the only one who has admitted, yes.
Okay. And have the other people said anything about this?
They have not said anything. They never say they were not touched. They just have not said anything. They were like, "Let me
They
stay
just
out of
didn't.
this."
Yeah.
So for me, the situation, and I heard whispers, living here and there like that. It was true, but
I don't.
So
I have a different conversation about all this, but I want you to finish what you're saying
So
about B2K.
Raz B and B2K were having a reunion tour this year. B2K has not been together in probably like, if I had to guess, maybe 13 years, 14 years. I don't fucking know. Wow, a long time. Did a reunion tour this year called the Millennium Tour 2019, and Raz B has quit I think 3 times now, and every single time he just seems to be going through a lot. He was on stage and something happened and it really upset him. He walked off stage and he's continued to quit this tour, like I said, 3 times. And the question got brought up if he's being triggered by just the tour in general, and if he's not really concluded or brought closure to these things in the past, and they're still open. So as he's on tour and he's dancing to these songs, he may or may not be triggered by them because all this occurred, all this stuff was recorded, all this stuff was put together when he was being abused. So it's something that
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Like, performing all these songs kind of drudge up everything from maybe not a good point.
Yeah, and I don't know if that means that he hasn't healed from that.
Because
he's triggered by stuff.
Okay.
I think I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know.
I might be wrong. I don't know.
That's a fair point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think, if we're going to dive into this now, I do think because you are someone that has went through abuse.
I mean, for reference, my abuse was a...
Yeah, I'm not...
Well, yeah, keep...
Yeah, but I'm saying I think that you should talk to someone, and there's nothing weak about that. And I think that we, a lot of times, think that there's a weakness in that. In speaking to someone about these different things that we all go through. And that if we knew that everyone around us was going through a lot of the same shit, there wouldn't be a taboo about speaking to a therapist or speaking to someone and really connecting with them and saying, hey, these are the things I went through. And honestly, it just makes you stronger, not weaker. But no one wants to talk about it. So I think that maybe he hasn't. I'm not saying he hasn't. Maybe he does have closure. But I'm saying maybe there's a possibility he does not have closure because, especially, I'm not saying in the world in general, but especially in the black community, we make people feel like they're crazy if they want to talk about what's going on in their brain or that person, cuckoo, because they went through this thing and they didn't know how to handle it, or it makes you weak because you didn't handle it how society tells you should. Like, what the fuck?
I think in a lot of cultures, a lot of the time, therapy is not necessarily looked down upon, but you think it's reserved for people that have, like, even by saying, like, real mental illness, like somebody that has a lot going on. And I think that actually it can be applied to anybody with trauma. And a lot of people have trauma. And that trauma may not be abusive relationships and stuff.
I think we all have, like, I have trauma, and I was talking to Mike about this. I have trauma just from being black. That is insane. Mm-hmm. The color of my skin. I have, like, things that I'm like, I can't do.
How is trauma, like, defined when you're saying it? Like, what is...
I think it's something
I don't know that much about
impacts
this, like,
your
space.
life.
It impacts your thinking
impacts
as well.
your thinking, impacts your life. There's people that have like traumatic childhoods, and they're not necessarily being abused in the sense that we think of, but in the sense of, like, their parents are maybe neglecting them or put too much pressure on them, and it makes you behave in different ways and different patterns that aren't necessarily healthy.
Yes, and you don't realize, and
you don't realize it.
When I'm saying
I always
from
think
being
of trauma. This is kind of like my, like, dummy questions to you guys. I always think of trauma as like a thing that happened one time that continually affects you in your life. But then there's also a form of trauma where it's like an ongoing.
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah, it's definitely both. It's not just one thing. I mean, of course, like, you have a situation that you're like, I am traumatized from this one thing I went through, which honestly.
I'm just getting a definition for our conversation.
No, I know. I'm just saying in general. I'm saying that's like, in my eyes.
Don't
like,
out my trauma.
No,
I'll out my own trauma.
But in my eyes, I'm like, that's a blessing that you have something that you're like, just only this one thing.
Pinpoint.
I'm not saying that you've only went through one hard thing in life. I'm saying that one thing that still sticks with you.
We were talking about the idea of triggers. I had some trouble like understanding exactly what trigger even meant or how that is affecting somebody and what the difference between just being emotional and being triggered is. Some people like, oh, what are you getting triggered, liberal? But then sometimes somebody actually is getting triggered. Like a word might set them off into a different emotional place that I don't even understand what it is to be
I don't even know
triggered.
if we're going to be allowed to keep this stuff in here. She might make you delete it. But
let her talk.
My
then.
girlfriend.
But let her talk.
But
let
it's
her
for me
say
triggering her.
Well, I mean, there's been times. So I was in an abusive relationship for like 4 or 5 years. And so for example, when we watched the R. Kelly show, I just like started crying out of nowhere.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, I don't know what to do now. And there have been times when, like, Sterling is like a prankster. So, like, before one time he jumped out of me and was like, boo, you know, like when you just jump out at someone to like scare them. Oh my God, it just sent me off. And I felt like I hadn't really been triggered that much before. And I don't really know why those triggers happen or what starts them. But it's not just like you're a bit scared. It like sends you off into like a rabbit hole of emotion. It's like, doo-doo-doo-doo.
It's like,
If that makes
boom.
sense.
Yeah, it's like you were holding on to a whole bunch of things. And
Yeah.
they like got released without you expecting them to get released.
Yeah, and I couldn't really tell you why you jumping out at me scared me or
No,
triggered me.
when I asked you, you were like, I don't know. Well, first of all, I didn't know I did anything. So
Right,
when I
you're like, what just happened?
No, it wasn't even that. When I jumped out at her, she was like, ah! And then she just walked downstairs, and I was like, whatever. So I was getting dressed, I think. So I was like, whatever, I'll finish getting dressed. And then if you can imagine the time it took me to get dressed, maybe like 10 minutes. I got dressed in 10 minutes. I come downstairs. She's in the theater room crying, real tears. I'm so confused. I'm like, it couldn't have been this. We've had a 12-minute gap at least between the time I scared you until now.
Yeah, it's like a real.
Wired. And I walked in, and she was like, and kind of before me, I'll say, because I don't believe in this, but before me, had a problem with crying in general. She felt as though it made her weak because she was somewhat told that growing up, but she thought that crying in general is a weakness. You make yourself look weak, and she doesn't have the room to look weak as a woman. And as a woman that stands for what she stands for, and she's a boss, she doesn't have room to look weak. And I think it's the opposite, is that crying is just releasing your weakness. It is crying. That's what crying is. It's like, I'm going to release the weakness in my body. I'm going to release all the pain and sorrow to get rid of that, to strengthen up. So that's how I look at crying. So I have no problem with crying for myself. I have no problem with someone else crying around me. Please cry around me. Like, I embrace that.
I think it's just like, as a child, you're taught like, don't cry over that. Like, that's a silly thing to cry over. Don't cry, which is fair enough, because you don't want.
I think
you don't
it's
want to bring your kid up to
I don't
be like.
cry very often either. I think it's because we called our parents by their first names.
Yeah, you can't. You can call them by their first name, but you can't cry.
You know what? Y'all didn't cry. Y'all also didn't get whoopings. Yeah. See, you didn't get
I had a
whooping.
hairbrush thrown at me once. Sorry, Mum.
A hairbrush thrown at you
Trauma.
once? Are we really gonna try to bring up that? This is rain and snow
No, I
right
didn't.
here.
I
This
didn't.
is
I
like-
had the naughty corner. I had to face the wall.
Oh, so
Public places,
hard.
I would
How
cry.
did
Naughty
It was a
corner
lot.
is the most British punishment.
How
No,
did you
naughty
do it?
corner.
Yeah.
You'd have to face the wall in a restaurant, wherever you were, and be embarrassed in front of people standing
CPK?
facing the wall.
I feel like we call this timeout in America.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
timeout. It's
But
Naughty corner.
actually, we got stand
Or
in
naughty
the
step.
corner. We got stand in the corner.
Yeah,
I never
you had
also-
to face the wall.
also-
You
naughty,
couldn't face out.
naughty time is it?
Naughty
I like
corner.
naughty corner. Naughty corner is like a good name for a bar or something. It's kind of a weird bar. It's gonna get a lot of people with mustaches in it. But
Or you would just
Also-
assume it was a strip club.
Also, guys,
naughty corner.
I wish I had the naughty corner. Are you guys really gonna make this a fucking speech about the naughty corner?
The
when I'm
naughty
getting
corner,
my
really?
ass whooped over here?
We got
I mean,
publicly
I don't
shamed.
believe
I'm
Hitting
getting
kids,
hit with
so-
fucking switches and extension cords and all kind of shit. And y'all talking about the naughty corner? Fresh
We
paint?
digress. Anyway,
My parents
We
used
digress.
belts
from the point.
and slippers.
That's what I'm saying, man. Getting that ass whooped.
My dad would snap a belt because his dad would use the belt on him.
You gotta
but
snap
then he
a
wouldn't
belt.
actually use the belt. He would
Oh,
just
he
like snap
weak.
it.
He out here. He pointing an unloaded gun.
What?
He's just pointing an unloaded gun. He just, I'll shoot you, motherfucker.
I didn't realize you were making a metaphor.
Yes, a metaphor. Nobody has an unloaded gun here.
You didn't clean your room.
Yeah, imagine your dad just walking in your room.
Oh
man,
my
like,
God, talk
motherfucker.
about trauma.
Yeah.
But okay, so what's interesting to me, like a conversation in this, is when other people are like actually triggered versus like it can affect the way we talk about things. I think we talk about that Chris Brown conversation. A lot of people can't have that conversation because they are being triggered, or they can't have an R. Kelly conversation because they're being triggered. And when do you need to cater to those people, and when are you allowed to have that conversation as someone who isn't triggered? I don't know. I mean,
for me, I would say I always want to be empathetic and sympathetic for that person, but also as a society, how much of it is our duty to do that? Like, how much of it is about, I'm not saying, again, I want to be sympathetic, but how much of it is you trying to actually get closure for yourself? Because if I'm not able to have a conversation with you at all, a logical conversation, because of the one thing you went through, or because you went through something, that's not fair to the rest of the world.
I agree. These are.
I think it's important to have the conversations, and I think it's important to make like domestic abuse and whatever other types of abuse and just general treatment of people that may be affecting their mental health. It's important to have open conversations, but it's probably also socially responsible to just simply put a trigger warning at the start. I didn't see a trigger warning at the start of R. Kelly, but some people said there was, so maybe I just missed that. And that wouldn't have stopped me watching it either. I still would have watched it.
But you feel like the creator is letting you know, hey, there's some sensitive material in there.
I feel like it doesn't cost anybody anything to simply just put a trigger warning at the start of any of those conversations. I feel like those conversations are important to have.
They did put one there.
That's
They
fair.
did.
Maybe
I
we
must have
should do
missed
that.
it.
They
I must have
did.
missed
They
it.
did.
Because as creators, sometimes I don't think about that, and sometimes I have to go like, how much of that matters? It's interesting because like if you really care about an issue and to the point where you are triggered by it, like in a way you should be part of that conversation because you really care. But in a way, it's difficult for those people sometimes to actually make a point because they're being so emotional.
And that,
I don't know, and I don't know when I can really
and different people
blame
in
somebody
different
for
stages
that.
of their recovery, and you can't tell someone they've got 6 months to get over it, or they've got 6 years,
Right.
or they got 6 days, however long. It's up to that person and what
No.
they've been through.
Okay, then my question is this. No, you can't tell someone that. But how much is it that I have to live my life based upon what you went through?
No, I agree. I think as long as the conversations being held are socially responsible and they're helping other people understand what those people are going through, or ways to say, I always go back to domestic abuse because that's what I know, but like red flags when you're dating someone, that there are red flags. There are behavioral patterns, yes. There are behavioral patterns.
She's joking.
I am joking. There are behavioral patterns that show in a lot of domestic abusers, I guess.
Yeah.
That people aren't taught. And it's
Yeah.
those simple conversations that if they were to be had, if people were more aware of them, that perhaps those situations wouldn't arise as often because you'd be more aware that, wait, that's kind of wrong.
Okay. So when I used to be in my little shock comedy stage, and like I say things for shock factor, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's a crazy joke.
Your James Gunn phase.
My James Gunn phase. I would say things sometimes that may have been insensitive to rape victims, may have been insensitive to child molestees. I don't know if that's even right, but people who were abused like that. Whatever. Stupid jokes that I thought, and I can admit to that.
Yeah.
I'm man enough to admit to that. And I would have people sometimes every blue moon, most of the time, laughs. I get laughs, guys. Every blue moon, you get that one person that's like, that's not funny. And you're like, what? And like, that's not funny. I've been through blah, blah, blah. And you're like, in that moment, as a child that thought this was funny, I didn't know how to deal with that. I didn't know how to deal with someone
I feel like I
responding
remember
back
that
to
moment
me.
as a teenager at one point.
And like, you trying to tell me my joke wasn't funny because everyone else laughed, and you're the one person who's saying it's not, so you're wrong. But in actuality, that person is just telling you that's not funny to me because I've been through all of this and this, and you're not taking it into consideration as you're telling this joke. And, you know, if I could go back I don't know if I would do things over. I'm not that guy, but I would definitely just be more
Aware.
way more aware of just that people go through shit, and different people have different things that will trigger them. There are things that me and you may get into a conversation about that again are just triggering me from being a black dude. That I'm like, you can't say that. Well, no, you can't even, and no, she don't say nigga, not in this house.
I'm like, let's clarify this,
let's
please.
clarify that really quick. But no, there'll be things that I'll be like, no, you can't say that. Or no, I ain't fucking with that. And she may look at me and be like, I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was even like.
I think I think a lot of times like you're learning from those things. Like, I think you need those moments. And as somebody, I appreciate those people who do stand up and say something. When you think about the words you use, or I think oftentimes it's intention. For example, like last week, we're making jokes about guns and white supremacy, and yeah, there's not anything funny about that. But at the same time, our intention is to make fun of the absurdity of the fact that we still have fucking guns in this.
We have to talk
these
about
gun
this
laws,
still.
right? So I think as you mature, you grow. Like, who am I punching at?
Different people deal with things in different ways. For me, humor, like dark humor, I find quite funny.
She tells the darkest jokes.
And different people deal with things in different ways. For me, part of my healing process is humor and getting over that in that way, rather than being super reflective. I guess I was self-reflective, if that is a term.
But be like, we can't talk about it.
Hey,
But no,
I'm gonna tell y'all.
we can make jokes about it. I can appreciate those jokes, and I think for me personally, I can't speak on behalf of everybody else. Can't speak on behalf of all people that have been abused. But for me, I'm okay with it. I think that there is a social responsibility to put at the start of things saying trigger warning.
Yeah.
We'll start doing that.
There's things like like pulling hair and stuff.
I grabbed her hair recently.
Yeah.
And she.
That
first of
actually
all,
wasn't during sex. He's also just a big, you can tell he's the youngest out of his family. He's like a big time prankster, play around, annoying sibling type. Yeah, exactly.
I know.
So he's always like, tickle you, do this, do that. Like, he's so annoying. But the other day, he was like tickling me or whatever and like grabbed my hair, not in an aggressive way, but I was like, don't do that. Do not touch my hair.
Don't grab my hair. And I was like,
all right, I said it in a much stronger
and
way.
I was
Thank you
like,
for that.
okay. Because I've been with her long enough now that I know when I don't have to, I know her. So if I dive into it deeper, it'll make her cry. So I just try to walk away.
So what do you think your responsibility is to strangers in that way? Like,
I feel like strangers
if
should
a
be pulling
stranger's
your hair.
grabbing her hair, bro, I got a problem with that.
I'm not talking about pulling hair specifically. I'm talking about anything that somebody is oversensitive to and could be triggered by. Like,
I think
how do
everyone
we
has
have
to meet in the middle.
conversations while
I think everybody has to meet in the middle.
you say trigger warning and then that person can go away?
Exactly. So if you're doing a podcast and you say trigger warning at the beginning, you don't have to listen to this. I don't believe in, and again, I'm not speaking
Spoiler
on behalf,
alert.
I'm not speaking on behalf of everybody that's been abused. I can't speak for those people, and I may be wrong. I don't know. But for my way of dealing with things, you can't mollycoddle people. You have to get over things. Bad things happen. And I had to get over bad things that happened to me. And I know so many of my friends that are girls have been raped, have been in domestic situations. And when you're growing up, you always think that that's so far removed. And it's not. I know girls, like I said, that have been raped, that have been abused as kids, have been in domestic violence situations. So many different things. So many of them that there are more, I feel like at least, more that have had that kind of trauma than haven't. And I think it's just like responsible to be aware that may be the case, and not like you can make jokes but perhaps not cross a line, and also that other person to be aware that people's lives go on, life goes on, and that you have to say, hey, I know you think that's funny, and you have to be aware that you may have to educate people sometimes.
See, and I think you can make a joke, right? I'm a person I stand by jokes. Laugh. We have one life to live. Laugh, live it, laugh it, like love it. But my thing is,
can I get that for my bathroom?
Yeah, you got it. Live it, laugh it, love it.
Live it, laugh it, love it.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you do tell a joke and it does trigger someone, don't be young Sterling. Don't get defensive. Understand that
Learn from
you
that.
triggered someone and love them, and say, you know what, my bad. I didn't. Yeah, you said learn from that.
Yeah.
And definitely just soak that in and say, you know what, I didn't know that. That's why I tell people, right? So, not to dive into this, but whatever. When I've heard white people in the past say nigga, right? My thing is simple. Number one, I'm not going to get into a whole education of why you shouldn't say that. You know you shouldn't say it, whatever. But I'm going to tell you, as your friend, if you're around me, don't say it around me because it makes me uncomfortable. And if nothing else, just as you talking about rape, you talking about blah, 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 whatever, molestation, whatever. If it makes that person uncomfortable, be a good enough person that you don't want to make a motherfucker uncomfortable. Just be like, you know what? I didn't know that made you uncomfortable. And guess what? From here on out, you won't hear it from me again. You won't hear nigga. You won't hear a rape joke. You won't hear molestation of this. You won't hear blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to make light of your situation.
And I actually never really understood like trigger warning as a thing, and now I understand it a little bit as in like, or we put up a gate and you walked into that gate.
Yeah, and then you can make that decision. I think that's a responsible thing to do. And I think as well, like, making jokes and stuff is fine, but you also have to be aware of, like, is your joke in good taste? Is it genuinely funny? Or are you just
who's the subject
laughing at the
if
expense
it's
of
me,
people?
then yeah.
But you know what I mean? Some people
Yeah.
make really shitty jokes. It's
Right,
like, that's
who's
not
the
funny,
target?
that's distasteful.
I think it's interesting to understand what a trigger is. As somebody who I don't think I have a trigger in my life. I don't think I have a thing that I go like, it hasn't happened yet. Maybe I'll find it. I can still hope, you know.
I don't think you want to hope for it.
I'm just kidding, but I'm sure maybe there's something real fucked up deep down inside of me that I haven't found yet.
I know. I feel like a lot of people, you know, have trauma as kids that may not be specific things, like they may not have been molested and stuff. They've just been traumatized growing up through how they've been brought up, for example.
Yeah.
And that affects a lot of people, or even things like not having a parent around, or being under too much pressure as a child. There's so many different things that traumatizes people in ways that shapes their lives and their behavior that they don't think about because it's just how they were brought up. It's just their experiences.
Okay, never mind. I got trauma.
I
But
think
it's
there's
something that
different levels
negatively
of
impacts
trauma
them
as well,
and
though.
changes
Yeah.
their healthy mindset to one that's not necessarily 100% healthy. And I think maybe in general we do always think that like therapy's a bad thing. We don't
It's
like
such a fucking good thing.
consider it. I mean, I've
It's
never
such
had
a
therapy.
fucking. I've been to therapy once.
Yeah, we've
Not
all,
one time
we,
ever.
We're
I've
all
been 4
saying,
times,
We've
but-
all said that therapy's good, but we also all
Haven't
don't
done
I've
do
been-
it
I've been
regularly.
4 or 5 times.
I've been a few times as
Yeah.
well, but
I've never been.
You've never been?
No.
Oh, interesting. I bet you.
I mean,
you talk about this stuff intelligently, so I actually assumed
I
you
mean,
had.
after I left that domestic violence situation,
She
I
studied.
read a lot.
She
I
fucking studied and studied, and she still
I
failed the course.
studied
But
so much. I studied so much after
Yeah.
because I was like, I'm never ever letting this happen to me again.
yeah,
you
so
feel
then,
very
like, she looks for
educated on
every
the subject, but that's interesting. Do you think that like learning it and talking it are two different things? Like dealing with your own and learning about it?
I mean, I learned it in a way that worked for me. So I don't think I'm qualified to say this is how you should deal with things and this is necessarily how we should do things. I can only speak from like my experience.
I think it's fair to say like I think we oftentimes learn like what the right way to do things is, and sometimes it's helpful to hear like but other people are working on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I read like that writers hate to fucking write, I go like, oh my God, okay, maybe I am a writer, you know, like, which is like said over and over again.
Yeah.
The WGA recently retweeted the head of SNL, and he was talking about procrastinating while writing, and I was like, all right, cool.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on Wine and Weed. We'll see you again next week. Make sure if you are on iTunes that you are listening to us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/wineandweed.
Spotify.
If you're watching it on YouTube, you can go to Spotify, you can go to SoundCloud.
Leave a good review,
I
yeah.
don't know if we
Leave a
want
good
to-
review. Yeah, give us some good reviews. Give us some
leave a honest
stars.
Yeah, leave a good.
No,
review.
leave a good one,
Okay.
John. We don't want to
Alright.
hear their
Peace, love,
YouTube
and
comments
hair
are a place
grease.
for Odyssey. And hey, and thank you, Conna.
Thank you, Conna
Thank you, Conna Walker, for joining us.
First guest won't be the last,
What-
and won't be the
what-
best.
We're gonna pull her back in occasionally
I'm
as she
glad
walks
to be
by in the
your
background.
test pig for guests. Their prawn cocktail, guys.
They're
prawn
expiring in
cocktail.
like a month.
They
We're
don't
trying
expire in a
prawn
month.
cocktail.
They do.
Do they?
April 20th, 2019.
Well, that's fine.
420, baby. They expire on. What do you think? Conna Walker's favorite chips.
I'm gonna wait for
prawn
you
cocktail.
to taste them.
Okay, thank you. That's really nice of you.
He just tried one. I feel like we need a couple, like, add at least another one. No?
Ooh.
Oh!
Unexpected. Very salt and vinegary.
It is salt and vinegar.
Mm.
It's not as strong as salt and vinegar.
Damn, that was hot. Whoa. I mean, not spicy. It was just
What?
like, that was good. I get
See?
it.
You like them?
I get it.
I mean, he's also high and just hungry.
The very,
There's
both
also that.
true. Both true.
Like, it was okay. My favorite chip? No. Like, you gotta fucking let me know what's up. Like,
They're really good with ham sandwiches.
That's the British thing I've ever heard.
Prawn
Ham
cocktail.
sandwiches and prawn
With ham
cocktail.
sandwiches. Lots of butter, soft roll. Oh, heaven.
it's whatever. I'm just hungry.
They're like ketchup chips a little bit.
Yeah, they're good.
Are they? Welcome to my life.
What do you mean? They're prawn cocktail. That's the classiest fucking name of a chip I've ever
It's
heard.
not
in my
real though,
goddamn
bro. It's not
life.
really shrimp tasting.
They taste like ketchup. It's a charade. They're obviously just
yeah,
ketchup,
ketchup.
but they're called prawn cocktail.
Where do you eat
I'm not
Get
sure
out.
I
shrimp
agree
cocktails
that
at?
they taste
In
like
the
ketchup.
casino.
And you dip,
Class, the definition of class.
and you dip them in ketchup damn near.
No,
No, I don't.
You don't?
It's
No.
cocktail
What's that
sauce.
tomato?
It would be
that's
too
cocktail
much.
sauce is like tomato sauce, isn't it?
It's
Oh
like
yeah. It's like
horseradishy.
that's like cocktail sauce,
Yeah,
right?
I don't like.
Yeah, that's what it
I
tastes
forgot
like.
what it's
cocktail
called.
sauce.
Yeah.
It is.
So in England, we do
It
shrimps
is.
with the cocktail sauce.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
it's
it
a cocktail
is.
sauce.
That's
It
literally
is
what it
cocktail
is.
sauce. It is. It's trash. Though. It's not good.
I am not a guy who's like, give me a flavor. I'll take cocktail sauce, please.
You liked them a second ago.
I still like.
Yeah, he
I
doesn't
still
like
like
it.
that.
No,
no.
I
Flopping.
What I'm
No,
saying.
because it
wait,
sits in
you're
your mouth.
misunderstanding me. I like those chips, but I
He's
would
hungry
never
and high.
think that cocktail prawn
Would
sauce
work.
would be the thing I wanted to eat.
Got it.
Yeah, but I want another one right now.